And it's like, what are you trying to say? And he's like, that's kind of embarrassing. And it's like, there are other people who still go back to school even in their 50s to achieve something else. Like if it wasn't their first choice of career to do so, they'll go for their second choice. If not their second choice, the third choice. Like life is all about doing your mistakes, learning from them, and repeating what you did wrong only to make it right if it's something that obviously applies to your life, or if it's something that you expect something from it. Other than that.
And now for my next number.
I don't think y'all ready for this.
I'd like to return to the classics.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binary familia. Welcome to the JTX podcast. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and non-binary familia, welcome to a brand new episode of the JTX podcast. I am your host, Jason Tamer, and it is bright. Let me move. There we go. I am currently on a little vacation out in Vegas. Look at that beauty right over there. So, there we go. Hey. So, I decided that I wanted to... That's weird. I'm not gonna lie. So, if you look behind me, there's a TV. I don't remember moving. That's weird. Anyways, just wanted to... Actually, let me move this. There we go. So... Just wanted to, fuck, how do I do this? I'm fit here, give me a second. I just finished. I'm still drinking this. I'm a little bit buzzed. So, today's episode is an episode that was supposed to be uploaded a while back ago. Obviously, as I non-stop talk, after my dad's death, it was hard for me to do certain things, like especially posting episodes that came out around that time. And this is actually one of those episodes, but it's not about my dad. It's about an amazing human being. Her name is Giovana. We talk about relationships. We talk about things happening for a reason versus, the choice and actions of your result is the result of what you get. And it's a good one. I actually enjoyed it a lot. But with that being said, I don't want to take too much time because I have nothing else to say other than I'm a little bit buzzed. And on top of that, yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. The Capricorn? Sure. The Capricorn, Giovana.
Personalities and,
There's
and similar interests.
You want to know something?
What's up?
I can definitely...
Okay, why?
But I don't know if you want to know the answer.
Oof, that's kind of scary.
Exactly. One thing is, we can talk about it because a lot of it is my experiences too. But one thing about people who lose weight,
Yeah.
who were very big, especially growing up, is that they try to refine themselves in who they are. And you can't blame them, but it's a lot of practice. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of rebuilding foundations, especially if you grew up very shy around the opposite sex. You want to know how to approach certain situations, as in like having a manual. And in truth, in life, there isn't a manual. It's all really about experiences, right? Mm-hmm. So with just like maneuvering on rediscovering yourself, there's going to be a lot of things you're going to start learning, and you're going to think that's the answer, but it's not. You know, that's why a lot of people who grew up in a very religious environment,
Right.
Once they get out of it, they don't know what to do because they're so used to, oh shit, you know, I'm gonna go to hell, or I'm so used to like I have to pray and all this shit. But you start learning how to approach certain situations. Now they can either go all the way to the extreme and just party it out, drink, do all this shit, or be hella reserved, but slowly start implementing those things. And then when they start learning on how to be a normal functioning human being, they're afraid that if they don't follow everything to the T, that they failed in who they are. It's the exact same thing for people who lost weight. In my case, where it's like, actually, I need to take this off. You know, my whole life, it was about reading books and following those books as if they were my Bible. And while I might have had successes in those things, it also fucked me over because I started not knowing who I really am as a human being. Right. Just to let you know, we did just get started.
No, yeah.
You had a feeling? Okay.
Yeah, no, I already knew when you pressed the record button. But aside from that, like, no, I actually kind of relate to that. Because growing up,
don't be afraid to talking to the mic too, just to let you know.
Sure. Like, growing up wise, I always thought that I should just follow my parents' footsteps on whatever it is that they did.
Yeah.
Whether it's like their lifestyle, the way they grew up, how they're raising me. And I question, like, is this even right? Because I would always look at every other child around me in my elementary school, in my middle school, and I'm all like, I don't really see these kids as similar to me in the sense of like how I act or how I am. And I always felt so indifferent among them too. Hence as to why some people would actually say that I connect more with elders than I do with my own age in high school. And I always never understood why until I asked like my AP English teacher, and he said it's because you have that mature mechanism that you grew up with. And I'm like, I never actually realized that. I just vibe with whoever.
What makes you say it's mature though?
That's the thing. I never did. He said it.
And if you were to ask me, who grew up in that similar environment like you, I don't think it's a maturity. I think it's a suppression, because you're limited based on what your parents are teaching you or pushing on you, right?
Pretty much my surroundings.
Exactly.
All adults.
Exactly. Perfect. And because of that, you start thinking to yourself, oh, I'm not like the others. You know, I can think and formulate things easier. But in reality, it's more that you were suppressed in having fun, or you did have fun, but it wasn't like fun that other kids have. You start suppressing all these things, and all of a sudden you especially when you're older, you're like, I'm attracted to older men.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that's I went through that phase with myself where it was like, I'm attracted to older women, and genuinely I did attract older women, and they would come to me for a reason. Especially with, you know, I would have women who had husbands, and they were like, you're different, and I'm like, yes, I know this very well.
Oh, wow.
But it's because of the way I grew up, it wasn't a good way to grow up, you know? And you get to the point, once again, kind of reeling it back to the whole thing that we were talking about being overweight. You start trying to find your Bible, or what you're trying to live to the T on. You start noticing this isn't normal.
Yeah.
And people will disagree with me, where it's like, what is normal? Yeah, I agree. But in truth, if you're trying to find a stable relationship or a stable connection, you need to tackle every single thing you went through as a child. Like, you have to see it realistically, right? And like, in the end of the day, you don't blame yourself, because it's not your fault of where you are in your life or how you are. But what I will say is, it is your fault of you not taking action and what you want to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people tend to just victimize themselves and dwell into that, being like,
Well, actually, I will disagree with you on that one part as to where you said that it's not my fault as to where I'm at. I actually do take blame on that upon myself only because I feel like I could have done so much more at a certain age, the way my other peers were, my classmates, my colleagues, etc. If I just actually found my voice to stick up as to what I wanted to do versus just staying quiet, still wondering if I'll ever be saved by someone or if I'll even save myself at any given point by growing a backbone and just telling my parents what exactly I've been suppressing all these years. And at one point I did do that, and that was like in 2016, I believe. It didn't go down the way I thought it would, but it was very emotional. There were tears. My mother did tell my dad to let me express what I've been holding on throughout all the years. In some ways, I do, I guess, half and half blame and thank my ex for pushing me to that leverage, only because he wanted me to go to this trip to San Diego to get to know his biological mother and his stepfather. But at the same time, I feel the way he helped me go at it wasn't really the positive effect that I was hoping for. It was more negative and very strong than just trying to communicate something and trying to see where we could both find a leverage here.
So when I say that you can't blame yourself of not having the backbone, right? Because like where did that come from though? And that's where I'm getting at. It's like it's your childhood.
Yeah.
It came from your childhood, so you can't blame yourself for not doing the things that you did. You're gonna push back, but let me explain real quick.
Yeah, no.
Let me explain real quick. You can't blame yourself because you were instilled with these things at that moment,
Right.
because of your past. But now that you're older, of course, we wish we could change what we did before because we're in a different point in our journey. Mm-hmm. But once again, it's not your fault back then because now you're starting to realize and learn your reality or what you went through your childhood.
Well, I agree with that. At the same time, I agree with the fact that it also depends on which point that you hit that point of realization. And for me was 2016, where it's like, this isn't how I thought this would go. And with my ex making me go through like so much anger at the time by making me express feeling and what I've been suppressing this whole time, I didn't want it to come out negatively, if not in a way where I feel like if I was comfortable enough with my parents to say, hey, can I talk to you guys about something that's been bothering me, and then actually express it without having them backlash and throw things in my face, then yeah, that was always my fear. And growing up, that's always been my fear, which is why I feel like at some points I would blame myself saying, how come I haven't gotten myself out of this? Why am I waiting for someone like a fucking princess? Excuse my language. Like a princess.
We can curse like a motherfucking sailor in here.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, like a motherfucking princess up in a fucking castle waiting for like her Prince Charming or like knight in shining armor to like bust through those doors and be like, you know what? I will take your daughter off your hands. Like, this isn't like the fucking 19th century or the 18th century.
I call that the Disney mentality.
There we go. I felt like I kind of grew up with that just by watching Disney, only because that's all I could do growing up is just stay at home, be a sheltered child, watch Disney movies and shows when it's like, you know what? I need to get more reality in my mind. And I did, to the point where I'm like, okay, that's a scary path to go through, but regardless, I had to go through it. And like, I don't know, it's just like the whole experiences that people go through, I feel also continues to mold a person.
Yeah,
even though they
100%.
say that they somewhat reach a level where they feel like they might have found themselves, in reality they're still finding themselves, I feel.
You never stop finding yourself. Like I met this one guy, I consider him a mentor back in one of my old jobs, and he says, I've always loved myself. And I'm like, even when you were 10 and you were learning how to like date, I've always loved myself. I'm like, it's hard for me to agree with that because you continuously learn how to love yourself.
Right.
And that's important. It's important to continuously learn how to know who you are and love who you are. I don't think any human being should ever stop learning how to know who they are because we change.
Exactly.
You know, and eventually we're going to get in our 50s, but
Ooh.
Hey, we're Latinos. We're good. All right, we got it. You're gonna, the best way not to be grumpy about your age is by just, what else do I have? What newness do I have in me that I could learn about? And that's how my dad is. My dad is 63 now.
Nice.
And he divorced my mom divorced him back in 2016 or 2017. And he went through his own journey where it's like he learned how to re-love himself and relearned new things that he wants to do. My dad now, he has like a girlfriend that's 20 years younger than him.
Oh gosh.
And my dad, on top of that, like, he's traveling. He has his own organization on helping Guatemalan children. Like a nonprofit. He does a lot of things with cars. It's just that, to me, that reminds me of like, you never stop. You never stop. And it's important to understand that.
Oh yeah.
It's a journey. Don't think of the microwave effects where you're like, I wish I had this now, or I wish I was here now.
Honestly, that's something that I kind of realized throughout my growth within these years, going to the gym and focusing on my physicality, along with my mentality and my spirituality.
Bro, I'm telling you, there's something right now where I can't speak.
Yeah, dude.
I can't. I'm drinking water just because of that.
Dude, honestly, I've been like that this whole month only because I've been overworking my mind with overnighters.
Fucking Christ. Yeah, I see. You're up until like 6 a.m, 7 a.m with your stories.
Even after, I would be up until 3 p.m. I would literally be working from the next day to the next day to the next day, trying to catch up with all the homework that I missed over for 1 week because I was procrastinating.
Do you work too?
I work with my sister.
Okay, so that's your main focus.
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
we're digressing though. We'll come back to that.
No, so like what I've noticed about that throughout the years of me being at the gym is the fact that I slowly was starting to become my mother, because there are things that she would say to me saying, I wish I was able to do this. I wish I was able to do that. And I'm like, in my mind, I was thinking, well, she's an adult. She can do what she wants. My question is, why doesn't she do it? And then I questioned myself, you know what? I wish I could do this and I wish I could do that. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm starting to sound like my mother. And I'm like, why should I wish for something when I should just go and do it? I just need to plan how to do it, and with the funds manage how I can also continue to do it if that was something that I wanted to look for, say traveling the world or being a freelance, going here and there, taking different types of jobs, exploring, etc. But because my main goal is pretty much working with kids and kids with special needs, it's like I need to find a way to make funds where I can one day open my own establishment and have like a class or a school that integrates both regulars and special needs together. That's one of the things that I actually want to do, that can, I guess, slowly make this mentality that certain parents have disappear, of special needs being kids that are contagious or infectious. Yeah, the stigma. And I don't know, like, even though that's like a big dream for someone like me, because going with my background.
Why? Yeah, why? Tell me why.
So, with the way that I live and the things that I do for my parents, the job that I have for my sister pays me monthly, and that's all I have. Depending on the hours that I get, it's either 1,000 or 2,000, and even in the summertime, it could be 2,000 to 3,000, but that money is always gone. At first, back in, I want to say 2012, 2013, I started to pretty much decide on the fact that I wanted to save up more and more. And there was a time where I had $6,000 saved in my own personal account. My mother was surprised at one point when she found that out. And she's like, how are you able to still eat, commute, and still have this much money saved? Like, don't you also buy necessities? And I'm like, I do, but I limit my spending because I know what I need versus what I want. And throughout the years, I had like a good threshold going through that. And all of a sudden, for some reason, money became such a big issue in our household, to the point where my dream of moving out, my dream of like having enough for whatever it is that I need, especially to pay my tuition once I graduate, is now gone.
Yeah, and a lot of that really stems from Latin culture, though.
It does, and I hate it. Like, that's one of the things. Like, I don't mind helping. I just don't like how it's thrown in my face later on by saying, you don't help around here. You don't do jack shit. And I'm like, how the fuck do I not even help you? The night that my mother actually told me that shit, I honestly wanted to blow up and curse at her. Seriously, like, that came out of nowhere, only because I'm helping her pay my grandfather's stay at a home in Mexico, $300 every month. And I gave it to her in advance. And I'm like telling her, where is this coming from? Because she automatically just said, you don't help with money. And I'm like, how the fuck do I not? She said,
let me, before you continue, let me guess, does your mom do the bare minimum when it comes to that?
she does a lot, yeah.
She does a lot?
She
Like,
has...
okay, so let me rephrase what I'm saying.
Okay.
Does your mom send money back to Mexico like you do?
She actually does. I help her with what I can to add on to that.
Okay. So did your mom go to school?
Of course.
Like university?
Yes.
Okay. Did your mom have the body type that you have currently?
Well, going through her
Actually, let me go on with it. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychiatrist,
No.
so don't take everything what I'm saying with a very grain of salt.
No,
but,
of course not.
But I know my shit, though.
Like, I'm not trying to belittle my mom or to put her down or anything, but yeah, she was a babe in like the 60s, growing up through the 70s, 80s. I saw her pictures, and with her friends, she's literally like the Mexican version of Charlie's Angels. I saw a picture. I legit saw a picture of her. I think she was on the side or in the middle, and like her two other friends with like their blowouts and all that stuff, and she had the Farrah Fawcett look. And I'm like, that's the Mexican version of Charlie's Angels right there. The outfits, the little car that they had, and I don't know, just the vibe of it all. But she was an attractive woman. She was very beautiful. I thank her for part of the beauty that she inherited me. But at the same time, I feel like she's a little jealous of me.
Wait, is she the Mexican side or is she the
Mexican?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, the thing is this, I feel at times she's a little envious of me because of the lifestyle that I now carry for myself.
So that's where I was trying to get at with it. One of the things about especially Latin parents who haven't faced their quote unquote demons, they project a lot onto their children.
Oh,
and when they do, they feel regret, they feel anger, they feel all these things. So it could go either way. It could either be regret, anger towards the child, or it could be enmeshment, too much, overbearing to the child. So in your case, because your mom, respectfully to your mom, all right, because your mom, I don't know her, but she made a fucking awesome woman. So but respectfully, because she hasn't really talked about the things that she's feeling or gone through, she lashes out, especially towards you, because you're right, it is envy. She is jealous of you and what you're trying to create, because you want to do well. For one, you're trying to finish school. You want to finish school.
Yeah.
She wishes she could be in those shoes again. That type of thing.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, you're going to the gym. You're working out. She wishes she can do that. And it's that resentment. She really does wish she could go turn back time to be able to do these things again. But instead of like saying it or actually doing it now, she feels that anger.
And that's the thing that I find her as a hypocrite, the biggest one, because whenever I would tell her that one of my friends has a mother who sides with the boyfriend or her partner because of X, Y, and Z and is a little jealous of their daughter or whatever, it's like she says, why would she be jealous of their daughter? That's their daughter. That's their kin. Why would they go for the guy? It's all because they're getting the dick or whatever the hell. And it's like, but you fall in that category as well. And I kind of wish she saw the hypocrisy that she also throws.
But she won't.
She won't.
And the only way she will, though, is if she goes to a therapist and talks about it.
And that's another thing. I've suggested that to her. And the only thing that she threw in my face was, I'm not crazy. therapy is for crazy people. And I'm like, no, that's psychiatry.
They ain't gonna prescribe you pills unless you need them.
Exactly. But I even recommended family therapy, to be honest, or counseling. And I even suggested that to my dad, and he said that was actually a good idea. And I never thought that my dad would actually side with me being in my life, coming into my life when I was like 1.5 years old, because he's not biologically related to me, but he raised me. And honestly, I never thought that he would actually say, you know what, you're right. Your mother does actually need help. And it's like, wow, this coming from a man who's been married to her. And yet I've asked him the question that has been bothering me throughout these whole, like, I guess, I'm gonna say 25 years, just because I was a little younger to even understand anything when I was 3 to 4. But I asked him, how come you don't say anything back? Why don't you retaliate or anything? And he said, because your mother's a stubborn person who obviously won't digest what a person says well. If anything, she'll find it as a mean of attack. She'll misconstrue the context and take it negatively. And the thing is, with my mother, it's if you tell her one thing, it's wrong. If you tell her another thing that's right, it's also wrong. If you try to correct her, she is right and you're still wrong.
And even if, let's say, hypothetically, you were to film her in her anger and send it to her later just so she could see afterwards, she'll take it as you're making fun of me, or, oh, wow, very nice that you decided to record your own mother, and like that type of shit. No, I've been there. That's how it was with me and my mom. Yeah,
most definitely. And that's why I'm afraid to even try anything at this point. If anything, I just want to get out.
Yeah, and that's the only thing you could do right now. But it's you choosing your what's the word I'm looking for?
My way?
No, what you're willing to sacrifice. Because, so for example, like you're saying you want to do this, you want to, but to be able to do all this, especially being in school, you have to sacrifice certain things, which is living with your parents, having to take care of your sister, which might not be too much of a sacrifice, but it's, you have to give something to be able to do the things you want to do.
And I've been told that throughout my whole life. But the thing is, it's very hard when you're emotionally attached to someone that you actually helped raise ever since you were 9 years old. 6 to 9, to be exact. And still continuing from that age. Only because, like, whenever I take my sister out, or whenever I took my sister out back then when she was a little younger, people would come up to me when I was still in my teen years asking if she was my daughter. Only because I would treat her of my own. And I would say, no, she's my sister. And they would be amazed. And these are parents that are with children that are infants, children that have special needs, children that are around the same age, and they would ask me, well, where are my parents? And I say, oh, I help them with my sister. Meanwhile, they're at work or they need to do something. And they're like, wow, no daughter or son has ever done that type of thing, at least not to their knowledge, or to even come across a sibling as old as me to take care of their younger sibling, especially with special needs. And it's like, well, I don't really see my sister any different from any of these other kids. She does the same thing as your kids. She's just different. But then again, it's like the whole world is different. Yeah. And that's one of the stigmas that I actually want to break down, because honestly, I find it ridiculous how it's like we're all the same except because their special needs are different, when it's like we're technically all different. Just because we're able to do something and they are not, that's ableism. And honestly, that's just something that just triggers me a lot, when it's like, I can do this, but you can't.
Well, I was going to ask you, how does it make you feel when parents tell you, not as much as the ableism portion of it, but it's more of like you internally.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel a sense of pride that you're able to do something like this? Or do you feel more of like well, you kind of did go over it though, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is more of like, do you feel better than other human beings, and it's okay if you do feel better because you're able to do all of these things that they are not able to see. For example, having to deal with the things you go through with your parents, or having dealt the things you did with your ex-boyfriend, or also having school on top of that and going to the gym.
I'm 50-50 actually on that, because I know there are a lot of other people out there that go through worse, And I applaud those people that do, because whatever I'm going through right now, growing up wise, it doesn't compare to whatever it is that other people had gone through just to get to where they are today, especially when it comes to education. So I'm 50-50. Like, I do want to say that I am proud of myself for getting myself to where I'm at right now, only because my parents being immigrant parents and them living here throughout their whole lives, even though they haven't really, I don't want to say not adjusted well to the culture or the American culture, but more so of just how things are in the education system. Like, yeah, they'll do anything far and beyond for my sister. But then when it came to me, it's like whenever I would ask help on a certain homework assignment, especially in high school, they didn't really understand it, especially when it came to statistics. And it's like, how did you guys pass this when you guys took it? And it's like, oh, that was years ago. And I'm like, well, of course, duh, me. Well, I should have realized that before I even asked. Everything changed over time. Like, what they know about statistics now is different from what it is now.
I mean, probably what they learned, were you learning statistics, they probably just learned algebra, right? Like, that's because from my knowledge, people now who are in first grade learn some serious math compared to me who just learned 2 + 2.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That's me too. But like, for me to go for my associates and then soon to be bachelor's, I had to go through a lot in community college just to get to the university.
Bro, that's where I'm at right now. I need to finish Psych 5.
Psych 5?
Yeah.
I just did psychology.
Love that class.
I think I failed it.
Why makes you say that?
On Friday, I fell ill. And not in the sense of coronavirus or anything, but I think I got food poisoning from what my dad cooked, because I threw up like 5 times.
Oh, no.
And I had the biggest migraine. And I'm actually a person that's very known throughout my friends that has migraines not constantly, but like every now and then.
Frequently.
Yeah, it depends on how stressed out I am. And since I've been putting my body and my mind through a lot of stress this whole month with excessive amount of caffeine and barely any sleep, looking at a screen almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's like I pushed my body to its limit last Friday, that it's like, you know what, I'm giving out. The only thing that I was able to do was my final for my CAD 410 class, which was to do a slide and then record myself presenting the slide, only to turn it in, even though it was 5 minutes late because it was like 12:05. At the same time, I'm like, at least I did something. I kind of wish I was able to do the essay that my professor required for my psych class, but it's like, you know what, I could not type anymore. I couldn't even bear looking at the screen. I kept passing on and off, and I'm like, well, at least in his email he said that if you don't turn in the final, you'll get a C. And I'm like, I'm hoping that's the case, otherwise I am fucked and might have to take it again.
Do you expect a lot from yourself?
Oh yes.
Yeah. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think there is a healthy version of that, and also an excessive one. Yeah.
Like, I get why you asked that question, because excessively, like what I put myself through, like, yeah, no random person might do that if they want to achieve whatever it is that they're achieving in university or at work, even, unless you're like an overachiever. And I get that even those people take a break. But for me, like, I want to finish while I'm still in my 20s. And I don't mean this to throw shade on anyone who finished in the 30s or in their mid 30s or close to their 40s, but
last week I recorded with someone who literally finished at 45.
Nice.
And I gave him a high five, and he told me his whole story. Actually, I'm gonna post that next week, and he told me the whole journey, and it's like, yeah, like, it's okay, yeah. But continue on.
No, so like my ex has a friend, or I don't even know if they're still friends, but I still talk to him every now and then. I see him at the gym. And this friend of his would give me and my ex advice at the time that we were still in our early, close to mid-20s, saying that it's better to get your degrees now that you're still young. That way you can progress more in life when you become a professional at it and actually like apply to the careers that you guys studied for. Because when you're in your 30s, it's a little harder. And he was telling us his life story, that he went through a lot in his 20s to the point where he didn't get his shit done until his 30s. And I believe he's still doing it now. I'm not really sure. But to me, that kind of embedded something in my mind where it's like, do I really want to be someone that said, I finished university at 30 plus years? I don't really know about that. And then with my ex being so, I don't want to call him a perfectionist because no one's perfect, but he kind of fits the bill of an asshole who likes everything perfect. And
So a perfectionist.
I guess, yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to because he's not perfect himself. Like, he has flaws.
No, so
that I can extend.
a perfectionist doesn't mean you're perfect yourself. A perfectionist is you want to make sure everything goes accordingly to the way that it was planned out.
Not just that, but I mean, I feel like he thinks of himself as a perfectionist, even though he always says, I'm not perfect. But it's like, well, you take good care of yourself out of nowhere. You started to change your routine on that. Like, aside from all of that, like, I just feel like he has this God's superiority complex. And I mean, I spoke to a colleague at the gym recently where they remember seeing me and him at the gym a few times before we broke up. And I asked them, if you didn't know that he was my ex, how would you feel about it? Like, would you still want to punch him in the face? And he's like, absolutely. I hated his ego and how he would walk around thinking as if he owned the gym. Like,
So that's a superiority complex.
there we go. Yeah, there we go. And it's like, okay, so I'm not the only one that thought that I was going, not insane, but in the sense of like just over the top of analyzing him specifically, because I overanalyzed everything that he did, just observing him constantly. And I'm like, is it me, or should I just be a little bit embarrassed at the fact that I'm with a person who has that type of complex? And I didn't know it at the time, but now that I do, it's like, I kind of regret not cutting it off myself instead of waiting for him to cut me off. But
But
aside
once
from
again,
that,
though, that you can't blame yourself for that now, because back then you were like, you want to try it out and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But aside from that, his friend pretty much got that stuck in our minds to the point where my ex would say, you know what, he's right. I don't want to be in my 30s, still in community college, and then finally getting close to the university only to get my bachelor's like around 35 to 40. And it's like, what are you trying to say? And he's like, that's kind of embarrassing. And it's like, there are other people who still go back to school even in their 50s to achieve something else. Like, if it wasn't their first choice of career to do so, they'll go for their second choice. If not their second choice, the third choice. Like, life is all about doing your mistakes, learning from them, and repeating what you did wrong only to make it right if it's something that obviously applies to your life, or if it's something that you expect something from it. Other than that,
I mean, that's what life does. Life sometimes gives you the exact same lessons to see if you've actually learned what you did.
yeah. And like, to me, that's how I see it. And him saying that it's embarrassing, he would belittle me saying that I wouldn't finish community college until I was 30, and that was when I was 24. And when I was 25, no, I'm sorry, maybe 24, 25, 26, somewhere around there, he said that I wouldn't finish community college until I was 40. And I'm like, okay.
Do you feel that that's the reason why, though, you're so urgent on yourself about finishing and doing all these things?
Honestly, there is a side of me that's a little competitive in the sense of like, yeah, you may have gotten your bachelor's before I, especially at the age of 25, but at the same time, I'm still in my 20s and I'm still going to get it regardless, because by next year I should be able to have my bachelor's.
See, and that's what I'm saying. That's a dangerous portion of it, though.
It is.
Because, and I mean it especially respectfully to you, dude, where because you have that mentality, it's going to affect connections that you're not going to want to lose.
At the same time, like, you're not wrong. At the same time, I did try to let that go. And a side of me did.
I didn't say let it go. I didn't say that.
No.
I said keep it. But I'm saying also, no, because, yeah, like, okay, so continue. I'm gonna have you continue, and then I'll finish.
No, hold on. Let me explain. What I mean is, like, I try to let go what he used to say to me about finishing school by the age of 30 to 40, because I actually finished community college at the age of 26. I'm finally in university, and I'm 27 years old. And what I want to show is that I can still do it because I am determined. I'm a person that is a workaholic depending on the goal that I'm trying to reach. And that's very well known of me. But the reason why I'm actually pushing myself further is my mother, once again.
How you feeling? No, man. I mean, that's the dangerous portion of it that I'm still talking to continue saying because, look, I'm gonna separate it into two things, right? And I'm gonna use my personal example. I recently broke up, or mutually, I guess, recently a few months ago with somebody, right? And while I can speculate all the reasons why, because of that speculation, I drive myself to make sure that I cannot have that happen again. So what am I doing? I got a job, a good paying job. I am going to finish up school.
Yeah.
I'm going to the gym, but I'm not using it anymore for me to be like one day, oh, I'm better than you, or me being like, haha in your face.
Yeah.
It's more of me being like, this is the dark side of me wanting to achieve stuff, but I know it's going to push me in a farther direction. So that way the next person who comes into my life won't have to worry or deal with the things that my past relationship had to go through. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm actually trying to work on that, especially with the person that I'm seeing now.
And that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's one of those things where if you really, I mean, how honest do you want me to be?
Give me the full load.
So realistically, using your ex-boyfriend in your mind of all these things you've gone through will harm your future relationships with whoever your intimate partner is, unless they know they know from personal experiences the thing that you went through. Because of that, either you have to go on your own journey and learn, okay, what am I supposed to do so that way this doesn't happen anymore. In every single relationship that we all go through, there's always a silver lining. What did I learn? Not what is driving me. What did I learn? What was I doing bad? You said it perfectly. You know, I regret and I wish that I could have ended it earlier. That means now you're able to notice the red flags that you don't want to have to deal with. Perfect. You learned something there. But being embedded, involved, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but just being immersed into that thought process of my ex-boyfriend said that I'm going to get it when I'm 40, or all those things. It could drive you, but at what cost, right? Have you ever seen The Devil Wears Prada?
No, I actually hate that movie.
I don't know it, but I only seen this one clip, right? And apparently, I don't know who the fuck is the main actor, but...
Well, it's Anne Hathaway.
Okay, so Anne Hathaway.
Her, but she cringes me in the movie, which is why I didn't see it.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
So there's a scene in the movie from a clip that I saw that the guy that she's dating calls her out on, like, the thing that she's doing.
Oh.
Okay. So because she's so embedded in whatever her boss is saying, right? But because of that, she potentially lost a good relationship.
Right.
Now, I don't know in the movie how shitty probably the guy was. Maybe he was the shittiest person in the movie. Maybe. But
maybe
I mean,
he was an ex of mine.
Or maybe exactly. So or maybe he was this amazing ass dude that, you know, you'll never. I mean, you can find the same person anywhere, anytime. But it makes a point where you're like, what am I willing to sacrifice to be able to achieve the things that I want? Like I said, you could use the thing that you're going through as a drive, 100%, and you are using it as a drive, but you're also using it as a harmful mechanism that can affect outwardly, specifically with your mom. Also, that's, you know.
I mean, here's the thing: when it came to my ex telling me that, I did take it in for a whole year. But then I figured, you know what? Let that fuel me so that way I could actually prove not only to him, but to myself. Even though he's not in my life anymore, like, it's what my mother said. Anyone who knows me and him and are mutual between him and I, and at random take, a conversation partakes about me and then how I'm doing in my life without him knowing, or someone tells me about his life and how he's doing, it's like, the only thing I could say is great, good for him. proud, whatever.
No, let's be honest. You suck balls. All right, you're an asshole. Fuck off. Get the fuck out of our faces.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, but
There it is.
there it is. But at the same time, it's like, it's more of what my mom told me recently that actually pushed me over to the edge. And it was before she went to Mexico to visit my grandparents this past week, where she saw how exhausted I was, especially when I'm trying to work out, maintain my diet, maintain my workout routine, maintain the schedule that I have to just continue doing homework. At the same time, the cost that I sacrificed this whole month was mainly having time for my sister. And that hurt the most because I felt like I was lashing out my anger of sleeplessness on her only because she wouldn't let me sleep either. Her staying up at night didn't really help. My parents not helping me out on that also added on to the stress factor that I was also going through. But what my mom told me recently was like, when I told her, Mom, you already know how it is. You've been through this type of like sleepless nights the same as I at my age. And she said, I actually went through it when I was 21. I was younger than your age. And I'm like, so what are you trying to say? And it's like, that I went through it when I was 21. I already lived my young experience. And then after I got my bachelor's and such, I had my fun to the point where I did both. And it's like, okay, I mean, I didn't grow up having the type of teenage life that I wish I had. I didn't grow up having the childhood life that I wish I had. I didn't even grow up to actually, what's the word I'm looking for? To enjoy my early 20s and mid 20s, unless it was with my ex. And those were also sour, I'm not gonna lie, because they were also added onto the stress factor. And it's like, I didn't get a chance to enjoy nothing of my 20s until now. But what I hate the most is asking for permission still, if I still can. And that is one of the things that annoyed me the most, is how she said that, to the point where I brought it up to my dad and I said, there was a point where she said in my face that she already went through everything that I'm going through now when she was like in her early 20s. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, like, excuse the fuck out of me, but I didn't have the same upbringings as you. Like, yeah, you had to go on a donkey, on dirt, like pavements, just to go from X, Y, and Z, like miles away.
I can't imagine the donkey right now.
I honestly can't either, but when she told me that story, I lost it. I'm like, there's no way you actually went on a donkey. She was like, yeah, I had my chanclas, and the way I was dressed was hand-me-downs. I had a horrible experience, but I'm like, you still had fun. You still had friends. You still had a social life. I don't have nothing. I have anything except through a phone. That's not life.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut you right there because there's a few things I really want to ask you.
Yeah.
When your mom said that she went through that when she was 21, and you said, I don't like how she said it.
Yeah.
Do you genuinely don't like how she said it, or was it because of past situations and you have this characterization of her in your mind is what caused you to be like, I don't like how you said that?
Both.
So
it's both.
You can't do both though with that, because for example, if I were to say something and like we're hella cool and I'm being straight up with you, you're gonna be okay with it because you know that I'm coming from a right place. Oh fuck! Well, actually, I kind of fucked myself with that one.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
No.
No, you have a point. You're right, because it's. But then again, it's because that was established between us. We have that establishment of like, hey man, we're both here to like get better in life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But with her, it's like not that.
No.
Or it might be in her own way, but it's just not the best way to approach it.
Like, the thing about it is this. The way she said it did tick me off, only because it's kind of like throwing it in your face. Like, I already went through everything, so I'm more better than you in that aspect, even though I'm a custodian. I'm a housekeeper custodian. And it's like, I mean, you could have continued being a teacher, let alone a principal. But at the same time, it's like, you didn't want to go back to school just to learn proper English. Your English is broken. And I don't have anything against with people who don't speak English correctly.
We're gonna cancel you in a few seconds. Don't worry about it.
No, like, I mean, yes, like, I try to understand everybody who comes from different places and English is not their main language, only because like, yeah, it's a hard language. Spanish is hard for me, so I totally get where they're coming from, because my Spanish sucks ass. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm a little girl that's still trying to learn how to say, can I have a glass of water,
¿A
even
dónde
though it's
está
not...
el baño?
There we go. Yes. Like, where's the library or something like that. Like, I try my best, even when forming complete sentences whenever I would speak with my mom and my dad. And even though they correct me, my dad corrects me, but not as much. My mom corrects me only because she tends to like get the short end of the stick from my dad, saying that's not how you say it, but it's like Colombian, Mexican, different types of speaking.
For sure. Also different words. You know.
Yeah, and it's like my mom kind of hates that, but it's like, you know what? I'm more of an open book where it's like, I try to understand both ways, where it's like, you understand it this way, he does not. He understands it this way, you do not. Therefore, same language, just different meanings. Same language, but different outcomes.
Bro, your mom's Mexican. I mean, come on. That's in the end of the day. That's what it really comes down to. That's what it is. It's as a half Salvadorian, half Guatemalan. You know, it's just, oh my God, Mexico. Just, anyways.
Oh God.
No. You're right though. You make a great point. She's the one who decided, and it kind of comes out to that too, where it's like once you learn and you notice that, you know, I'm gonna take accountability of my life.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna do something. So where you could learn Spanish or English or whatever, you know, other people have done it. Why can't I?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna limit myself because of certain things. Like, I might not have the money. Okay, cool. What can I do right now?
Right.
Also, just, you know, Spanish is español. You know? It's, do you want to learn, or is...
Well, of course. I mean, if I'm going to be a bilingual person that works with both sides of like families, different types, whether they speak Spanish or English, most definitely, like, I would have loved to taken up other languages growing up as well, just to be trilingual or multilingual. But that wasn't the case.
I mean, you could still go to City College though and take classes.
I could, but
I'm giving you the answer, but there's a but. Why is there a but?
But because my passion for that kind of set sail. My passion to learn French back in high school was actually one thing that I wanted to learn, only because I fell so in love with, this is gonna sound so corny, but Madeline on Disney Channel. It was Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, one of those two. I don't even know. But
yeah, I know. I remember.
I grew up with that one, and I just loved the accent. And my dream was to at least try to go to Paris one day just to see how it is. But what I love the most is how they spoke. Even though it's a different language, just the dialogue itself was just beautiful.
You should definitely give it a shot. I don't think you should limit yourself about the passion being gone. I think that's just me though. But then again, I speak 5 languages, so it's like I don't know, man. My mind is so different with this. I don't want to make it seem like I'm this, but I think you can. I know, actually, I don't think, I know factually you can do it. There's nothing in my mind that doubts it, and that's why I am being very forward about it. Like, don't limit yourself based on, you know, I'm like, yeah, you could focus on something else.
Right.
And you have this goal. I don't think it's a dream. I think it's a goal. You're gonna make that school. You're gonna be able to like bring that together. But also don't limit yourself with it, right? And you, once again, it's not your fault for thinking like that or being like that, because especially as Latinos, once again, because that's the root of the problem.
Yeah.
It comes from that. It really does. Unless you have a family that is very different and not thinking like that, a lot of them are like that. They really they push you down, and when you want to do something, and then they start saying, you know, be like the white kids, or be like, that's
I'm good. I'd rather have some flavor. That's too plain for
I
me. I'm sorry.
I like being, it's picante, you know, perfección.
Of course.
Espíritu perfección. Dude, you got this, and I know factually you got this. The fact that you've gone this far, when I sent that message through your story about you having graduated from your AA at City, that's a huge accomplishment. Not a lot of Latinos can say that shit. 100%. Not, and also, not a lot of people can say that shit. You know? Yeah, we live in a very diverse country, but you have to be proud and vocal of what you've accomplished in your life so far. Because what you are doing is gonna set a journey, a road for other people who are in the exact same thing as you are, who want to accomplish it, who want to move forward. They just don't know how. But you are that catalyst.
Well, I mean, like, okay, you're not wrong. That is something that I do want to show on my page and as a person when people meet me, that I have gone through some shit that anyone else could have gone through as well, but could still continue going forward. And I mean, that's something that I do want to show. That's something that I do want to be. But at the same time, I don't want to come across as selfish, only because, like, I wasn't really confident on showing my AA diploma or my Puente the diploma, only because, like, I'm a person that's too modest and I'm really shy when it comes to showing what I have achieved.
Understandably so.
Like, I mean, there are so many people that achieved more than that I'm pretty sure whatever I achieved isn't really that much to them, even though it is a lot to me. And it's like the fact that it's like something of importance with my name on it is like, yeah, that makes me feel 100%, maybe even more times better of like the type of person that I'm becoming and still progressing to be. But honestly, it was just that type of shit. Like my mom, I've seen her diplomas, I've seen my dad's diplomas, and I'm like, I want to be like them, where they have a bunch of diplomas with their names on it, a bunch of like certificates with their names on it. I want that too. But I feel like that's such a comparison that I'm trying to do, and I'm actually trying to be different.
Don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Yeah.
And keep being yourself. Keep doing what you want to do. But once again, just this is what I think. Don't be ashamed, or don't be afraid of being vocal of how far you've come with anything. Because once again, there are people, I can bet your ass right now, there are people who follow you that they see your stories, they see your posts, and all of a sudden, yo, if you could do it, why can't I?
That's pretty much what I want them to put in their minds.
They're not going to tell you, though.
No.
They're not. But
they don't have to, but I just hope that I do inspire and aspire them. Well, inspire them to want to aspire to be someone like me. Or even better than me. Either way, I still encourage that. I'm not going to lie. I lost a friend when it came to this whole studying thing, but I think it was because of certain words that were misconstrued.
Was it your text or actual talk?
Oh, it was a text.
Oh, don't ever text people with serious conversations. Yeah, both can misconstrue so much.
Except I feel like he takes it more up there only because it wasn't the first time that we've actually had a misconstrued conversation. And I mean, the fact that he has or had a crush on me, or just super definitely likes me,
that definitely has effects. Okay.
Like I was straight up with him. I will never see him the way he sees me. And I'm very direct when it comes to a person that likes me or wants to pursue me or wants to pursue something. It's like, I don't want anything. I don't even see you that way. I never have. I don't even know why you still try. I've always asked him these types of questions. And it's not to hurt his ego or self-esteem, but it was more so of just making him see, like, go for someone else. Because honestly,
also, you're putting your boundary down.
Yeah.
That's your boundary.
I'm putting up my boundaries. At the same time, I was wondering, like, is he not understanding it? I'm not really sure.
That's the nice guy syndrome. So.
Oh my God.
No, it's so. Like,
that's a thing.
Before you came here, you saw this book, right? Mm-hmm. So I was reading this book,
The Laws of Human Nature,
which I fucking love. But before that, I just finished a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and the book talks a lot about a lot of men who also grew up, once again, it's always childhood, but a lot of men who grew up in a very either enmeshed household without a father, or maybe a father but wasn't being a real man, can affect your relationships when you grow older. You don't know how to set boundaries. You don't understand boundaries. You fuck up your own dating lifestyle. And I read this book back in 2015. I read that book for the first time. It definitely helped me out in my journey on how to be a better man. But I just decided to reread it just so I could like see how far I've come in my life, and definitely come very far. But yeah, man, a lot of guys like that. It's a neediness. It's a huge neediness. And if I were to say right now, he probably would have been able to be in a relationship with you, but he fucked it up himself, because in the very beginning, he probably something was just off, and you were just like, you're a friend, I just want to be friends. And he thought if he was able to prolong it in the friendship, he would try to sneak in and try to be more. But you put your boundaries.
I mean, the thing is this, I went to high school with this dude. And yeah, like I knew him, especially the girl that he was dating at the time. He did share some personal things with me, and I appreciate the fact that he had that confidence with me. Of course, I'm not going to say what it was, but at the same time, like, I respected his boundaries. I respected his trust when he was giving it to me, and his friendship overall, because, like, I'm not going to lie, 2020 was ass. Like, legit ass cheeks.
What? Really? What? 2020 was? What?
I mean, like, okay, like, I'm pretty sure
No, you're right. Yeah, it was shitty. It was horrible.
Aside from the pandemic, it was more so the fact that was the year that I was going through my heartbroken stage. In the beginning of 2020, he was the first person to actually extend a hand out and actually try to cheer me up. But I don't know where he got the fact that I was going through my feelings versus I actually want to kiss you.
It's called I'm trying to be a rebound.
Yeah, no, I don't do rebounds either. That's another thing.
There you go. I'm telling you, that's the sneakiness of it. That's a man who's not able to be upfront about his feelings, instead waiting it out until you're able to like snatch the prey, quote unquote.
No, honestly, well, first of all, like, to anyone who actually considers themselves a rebound or tries to be, you're better than that. Don't degrade yourself over that. That's one thing that I want to put out there.
And I'm gonna push back on that and be like, hey man, if that brings you happiness, go for it. Just know it's not a good lifestyle.
That too.
There you go.
But honestly,
two great views. Just I hope people take that.
Yeah, no, seriously, because honestly, like, there are people that obviously do go through that route, and it's like, okay, but are you happy?
Yeah.
And it's like, as long as you're happy, then yeah, for sure, go for it. Like, no shame. But at the same time, think about how you're kind of hurting yourself in the process if you don't get this person's attention 100%, or if you don't get that person's heart 100%, or if you're just wasting your time.
But it's a form of validation too, though. And that's the reason why a lot of people even do one night stands. You know, it's a form of validation. You're trying to validate yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why I go back to it. Like, if it makes you happy, cool, go for it. But it's not a good path, because it is filled with depression. In the end of the day, it is. And, you know, that's why it's better to find something meaningful and long term than something expedient and short. But anyways, I cut you off. Your homie, your ex-homie decided to try to sneak in a kiss. And
I mean, like, I don't know if he was, but at the same time, it's like, he didn't ask me that question until months later when the pandemic already broke out and all that stuff. And I'm like, I asked myself, where did you see that even remotely coming to? And he's like, I don't know. I felt like you were looking into my eyes. I was looking into yours. I'm like, I look at everyone directly in the eyes when I speak to them, especially when I'm like saying goodbye or hi or just having a conversation. That doesn't mean that it's like, I want you to take me right then and there. That's not an invite, sir.
I can only assume what he's learned. I can only assume, because it's something about guys. dating is a skill, not something you're born with.
No, yeah. I feel that's for everyone.
And yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it kind of also bringing it back to what I was talking about earlier. You know, people tend to read books and learn things, and they think that because all the IOIs or indicators of interest
Right.
show up, where it's like, you know, we're together, we're vulnerable. I think it's the right time to do something like that. It's like, bro, dating in general, just it's so fucked up, man. Yeah. You good?
Yeah, no, I'm just checking the text message that my mom sent me.
Oh, okay.
It's like a list, but I'll read it later.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, like, okay, this person, he seems to have like a genuine relationship with his parents, because he would always talk about his mom, even though she has similarities to my mom. At the same time, I'm like, I hear her in the background, and she doesn't sound anything remotely like even close to my mom. She sounds like a sweetheart. And then his dad I never really heard about, but he sounds like a chill dude. And I mean, he loves animals. I get that for sure. He has his own little aquarium of fishes and snakes and who knows what else. And I'm like, that's great. Like, I haven't spoken to him per se to get to know him since, like, back then.
He also had you said a relationship in the past?
He did. And he told me about it and how it broke off, because little by little he kind of did help his ex push away, in the sense of like learning to live without him, even though they were together for X amount of years, and I thought they would make it. And it's like, well, she's happier now, married with someone else. It was in
high school, right? Yeah, no one's gonna make it in high school.
No, obviously not. And I don't mean that it will. Like, who knows? Some people have, some people haven't. But like, what I'm saying is, like, she's happily married with someone else. Like, now I don't know how long she's been married to this person, but she seems very happy and in her peaceful state of mind. And then there's him, where it's like, yeah, he's happy for her, even though he doesn't know anything about her, because she's blocked him all over. And it's like, well, of course, you're someone that she just doesn't want in her life, nor to continue to be in her future, because what happened between you, had happened, and that's a closed book. Instead of a chapter, it's literally a closed book. On to the next one.
Did he get did he get actual closure, or what do you think he didn't get closure?
I mean, I sense that he probably could have gotten closure, but I feel
so he
like
didn't.
Probably not.
And that's probably the reason why he was bothering her a lot.
Like, he wasn't bothering her per se, but more so of like, he knew that he was at the end of his rope when it came to the feelings that she had for him, just with the way that he treated her back then. And he went through that reflection stage of like, yeah, I know I fucked up and I should have been a better person to her, but it is what it is, as he would always say.
That's a problem, but okay.
Yeah. And I would always hate it when he would tell me it is what it is, because it's like, that works in certain cases, but not in cases such as this, or in cases that I'm in.
If you say it is what it is when it comes to a relationship, that means you didn't learn from the relationship.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's a chill dude. He does have his annoying times, his moments per se, but he is a chill friend to, like, if you want to go on a drive, he's your guy. If you want to talk about anything when it comes to life, for sure. His point of view, though, is like super different from anyone else, to the point where it's like, ugh, like, why am I even like talking to this dude, or like, why am I even venting out to this person, or such and such. And it's like, ugh. But regardless, like, it was recently that he blocked me through like phone and Instagram. I checked Snapchat, and I think I still have him, because the last time I checked I still had him, but we didn't really communicate as much on there. Facebook, I'm not even sure, because I'm not really on Facebook as much as I am on Instagram or Snapchat, and even now so TikTok. But he blocked me one night when I was telling him that I was busy, that I was at a diner studying and chilling. And of course, like, even though I said that I wasn't going to be on my phone to actually respond to him 100% or like right away because I told him that I was studying. At the same time, I was only because I was talking to group mates from this course, trying to help each other out with a quiz that we were doing that was due by that same night at midnight. And it's like, I didn't want to go into details explaining like, I can't talk to you right now because I'm actually talking to these set of people while we're trying to do a quiz for him to actually understand me. Like I said, like, oh, I'm just like at a diner chilling and studying. And that was it. He bombarded me with text messages about his weekend, of not having his phone and how great it is not to have his phone in the wilderness. And that's great. That's awesome. I would have loved to heard more for sure, but that wasn't the right time for me. And when he was trying to get my attention by sending me another text message saying hello, it's like,
oh my
don't
God.
push me there, because that's really where I'm going to like literally talk to you sternly saying, you know what, I told you before that I am busy studying and I can't really be on my phone as much, but what's up? And I literally meant that what's up strongly, because it's like, you know what? Okay, you want my attention, you have it. What's up? What is it that you want to talk about?
But that's not misconstruing then.
Okay, it's not, but I felt like he probably did. I'm not even sure, because the next thing that he says, well, excuse the fuck out of me. Like, sorry to bother you since you have your other friends and doing other stuff. And it's like,
but
what
that's him assuming that you were doing other stuff.
When I literally told him what I was actually doing. And that's the thing, that I don't belong to him for him to actually treat me like as if I was his girlfriend doing something else.
But in his mind, the reason why he was doing that is because he has some type of feeling towards you.
He does.
And that's the problem. Well, it's not a problem if it's both reciprocated, but the reason why I'm able to speak on this is because I've been there. Like, it's I'm telling you, like, it's unlearning a bunch of foundational things that are very toxic, especially towards when you're trying to like have a genuine friendship or relationship with somebody. And the things that he was doing is very much a nice guy thing to do. You know, he expects you to be there for him because he's always been there for you.
But not always been there for me, because we barely got to talk literally last year. Like we've.
But did you guys hang out in person?
Last year?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
every now and then that we could.
So so when you guys did hang out, was it his car?
It was both.
Okay, who would pay?
He wouldn't let me pay, but I would pay regardless. Okay. And like it was like back and forth. I didn't really mind. Okay,
so. I mean, I can't really even speak on that part then, because a lot of the things that nice guys tend to do is
want to pay everything.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, if I invite you, I'm going to pay. If I invite you.
Right.
Right. So, but it's just, oh my God, dude. That's so cringe.
It is cringe.
That's so cringe.
Because I haven't spoken to this person in years, ever since high school, and we graduated back in 2012. That was almost 10 years now? And the fact that we got to reconnect by social media just by talking, it's like, okay, well, we were in the pandemic where everything was on lockdown last year. And it's like, of course, social media was your only friend where you can actually conversate with certain people and even try to gather together every now and then just to be safe. And it's like, I appreciated the fact that he was there. I appreciated the fact that he lended out a hand on trying to cheer me up. But my depressive state, because I was honestly so depressed that I lost weight, I lost my gains, I didn't want to eat as much, I didn't even want to talk to anyone, all I did was cry, and like I just didn't really want to be around anyone. Like I just wanted to be alone, at the same time not at home, because I still would get backlash from my mother regardless. And it's like I have no haven except to go out and go for drives, and that was pretty much a thing of him and mine, to the point where I little by little started to like gain a little more weight, eat a little more, see the brighter side of life, and try to actually suck everything in and just do what I have to get through life. It's a process. Like my breakup process was actually really rapid, only because there were certain people that would just tell me, get over it. Like it already happened. And he was one of those people that would actually tell me, get over it. Like, oh my God, you're such a heartthrob, this and that.
No, for anybody listening, if someone goes through a heartbreak, don't ever tell them to go over it. Just let them go through the notion and be there if they need somebody. If not, give them the space.
Exactly. And I feel like he rapidly wanted me to get over my ex only because he obviously wanted a turn in my life. But it's
100%.
like, I wasn't ready to take on anyone. I actually wanted that 1 year to myself. And I'm still finding myself to this day because even though I'm not with my ex and we broke up 2019, 2020, it's like, yeah, it's still something in the back of my mind that still is a process. And I don't want to bring what I'm processing with the person that I'm seeing now, to keep anonymous.
To keep anonymous.
But at the same time, it's like he kind of understands as to where I'm going through only because I explained what my ex has put me through. And he also learns how he can adjust for me, or the boundaries that I set, he respects them, etc. And he's great. Is that I'm not really ready to take that full title of like boyfriend and girlfriend, which is why we're still stuck on dating, only because I know I have my demons to take care of, and I don't want to drag someone down with me to take care of them with me.
And yeah, dude, I mean, I would recommend keep doing it for yourself, but especially if you have somebody with you to be able to like help you go through that, fucking high fives all around, because they might be able to call you out on something that you know you might need to talk about, or you might be able to like unlearn past behaviors that you went through with your past relationship because of them. So I mean, by the sound of it, you're doing good.
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, if anyone was to bring something up about my ex and it's something positive or something that he achieved in life, then I'm like, you know what? Kudos to that person. Proud of that person. I wish them nothing but the best, and hopefully they continue forward. That's all I can do. I'm not a person that actually wishes ill will upon anyone as much as my petty side would like to. At the same time, it's like I'm too grown for that.
Nah, fuck him. He's an asshole. I don't know who he is. He probably, you know, deserves to be fired from his job. And no, I don't know. If you, I highly doubt this person will listen. But if you are, I don't know you. So
you're just playing anyway.
No, dude.
But no, I mean, like honestly, like knowing what my ex has gone through as a child and going through what I've seen with his relationship with his father, even, it's like there is some emotional and internal damage between them that I feel like they should really work out one day, or like not even a day, like years, even if possible, to mend that relationship. Only because the same way for me and my mother, we don't see eye to eye, but I feel like maybe with family therapy or something could help us mend certain like issues. Same thing for him and his father if they haven't already.
A man who can build a great relationship with his dad, knowing fully well after everything they've gone through, is a man who is extremely powerful, because they are able to look past and learn and understand that, hey, look, my dad might have been shitty.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm not going to be like him because I'm able to forgive and learn. And that's, you know, for me, that's what it was for my dad, you know. So I highly recommend it. And, you know, with your mom, especially with your mom.
Definitely.
But you're doing your part, and that's what's important.
Oh, I'm trying. If anything, I'm not gonna lie, this past week without her was amazing. Like me
this
and my
is just a little taste of what's gonna come to your life.
Oh God, yes. If anything, like it's the third time, because back in December she went to Mexico for a week, and I loved it because it was calm, it was smooth sailing. I didn't really hear any like early morning rummaging in the kitchen with the dishes or complaining. Same thing for spring break. She took my sister's spring break instead of mine, only because she didn't know which spring break was whose. I mean, she knew when my sister's was, but she didn't know when mine was. And even so, it's like, that's great regardless. Like, even though it was a little hard because the week that she took off was the week that I was still in school and my sister wasn't. So it was kind of like, it was kind of on and off, where it worked, but it didn't. My sister would still sleep in regardless, because I would allow her to sleep while I would do my homework. At the same time, I would take on the day for me. While my dad went to work and my sister was still sleeping, I figured, you know what? One of these days I'll go for a morning jog, and I did that, and I loved it. And when she came back and I told her about it, I'm like, Mom, I actually want to do this. I want to take morning jogs. And she's like, then do it. I mean, if you liked it that much, then go for it. I'm like, the thing is, my sleep schedule kind of sucks. So I got to fix on that. And now that she did it again this summer, it's like me and my dad got a break from it. Like, it wasn't just me, it wasn't just my sister, it was my dad.
That's hilarious. Your dad's like, all right, pass.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Like, you have no idea how much me, my dad, and my sister got more closer. Every time that my mom leaves, it's like I can breathe without feeling so suffocated, like as if I'm wearing a corset and I have to be like straight like a military soldier. Dude. That's how stressing it is in the house.
And that's why either take yourself out of the situation or try to fix it. But your mom,
I mean,
yeah.
As much as I want this for me, getting closer to my dad this past weekend, it made me realize that I actually want to help out my dad and my sister when it comes to my mom. Because honestly, I don't want to leave them behind with someone that they have to tolerate years after I leave.
Are you okay, though, knowing off the fact that you might not be able to work on things with your mom and have to live your own life?
I've come to terms with it because I've spoken to certain friends about this issue, especially last year. And there was a friend of mine that I went to school with, same high school, different friend. And he graduated from SF State like a while back. And I would vent out to him and he would tell me this: your mother is going to suffer the day that you finally pack up your bags and start your life. And if she ever needs something from you, don't even bother, because she will suffer without you knowing that you were her right-hand woman to help her with whatever issue she needed help with.
Your mom is going to learn her lessons when you leave.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That your mom is going to be like, I'm going to change, or I'm going to need to change when you do leave. So,
I mean, the fact that him and you say that, like, the moment I heard those words, I'm all like, it just dawned to me. I'm like, you're right. Which is in some way I feel a little special, but...
Well, let's bring you back down, all right? No, yeah, it's there's a quote that one of my best friends said once. Sometimes you can do anything possible in a job. And okay, so think of it like a boss and an employee. You as a boss can do anything possible to make sure your employee succeeds. If they still keep getting it wrong, it might just be that this job isn't perfect for them, that this job might be holding them back. So to put it in your terms, it's like you can do anything possible for your mom to make sure that she opens up, succeeds and such. But once you take yourself out of the situation or the equation, that's when your mom is going to be able to truly learn and grow. So
I hope that is the case, because like, when she texted me, like, it was a list of things to do, but then when she sent me another text, I hate how she says, this is just a friendly reminder, but start charging your friends for the concert tickets that you paid for next year. And the fact that she says friendly reminder, it's like, it's not a friendly reminder. It's a nagging one. It doesn't help her case at all, which makes me want to push it further and further, in the sense of I will tell them to pay me back when I am ready to tell them to pay me back, because my best friend just got her second job and she's still trying to earn the money that she needs, not just for rent money, not just for food money, not just to go to Disneyland for her birthday with her fiance type of money, but money to spend on herself as well, and more bills.
what does that have to do with her, though, with your mom, for her to be saying that?
So for my mom, like, I told her a while back, before my best friend got like these jobs at all, because she was still on the stimulus check, I believe, or the EBB or
unemployment.
Yeah, the unemployment thing. And I was trying to get the Bad Bunny tickets for next year, and I did. And I told both the person that I'm seeing and my best friend that I got it for us, and that I got it at the best deals, even though it came out to like $700+ But I'm like, that's the cheapest out of paying $800+ to $1,000+ to close to $2,000+. And what I hated the most is how my parents think that I don't know how to manage money is a thing, which is why it ties back to her sending me the message of like, friendly reminder, tell your friends to pay you back. It's like, to me, that's nagging and that's controlling.
I still don't see why she would send you that if it's not her money that she used.
Exactly my point. She's used my money to pay for other things for herself. And this is just a thing that I'm doing for myself. So I will charge my friends and person that I'm seeing when the time is right. Because I know that at both of their ends, they're going through some stuff too, which is why I'm not pushing it. And as much as I want to tell my mother that part, she still won't understand it and she won't take it into consideration.
And that's why you just say thank you.
That's why I said, okay.
Okay.
That's all I can say. I'm like, okay,
there, exactly.
that's it.
That's all you can do.
Because honestly, like, you can continue telling me, and even in person, you can continue telling me, and all I can say is, like, I'll tell them when the time is right. If she asks me when will that be, I said later on down the road, because they're both going through some shit, and they're both, like, still trying to accumulate money for other things that they need in life. Okay, hold your horses. It's not the end of the world. It's literally $230 each. That's not a lot.
I mean,
to most, to most it is. But to me, it's like, you know what? I don't need it right away.
And it's your choice. That's right. That's what it is. It's your choice. So it has nothing to do with her. It shouldn't matter in the end of the day what she says about it or what she thinks about it.
Like, comparing the $230 that they both owe me, compare that to the $2,500 that my mother owes me.
But she'll just say, well, I raised you, so
I don't give a shit.
Exactly.
That's my money.
But she'll, that's how it works in that type of family. You know, I raised you.
No,
it's not
what
like
she'll throw in my face is the fact that I don't pay for rent. I don't pay for any type of bill.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. No. She's thrown that to my face before, especially going back to that conversation of how she said I don't help with money. It's like, you know what? I do. That's my contribution to this. You guys don't allow me to pay for any godforsaken bill because you guys don't want me to have my credit score on point, want me to focus more on my education goals, on my courses, on my classes, on my assignments, and to only be a babysitter for my sister. Because let's be real, my mom doesn't actually let me do my job that I have to do with my sister other than to be a babysitter. And then even though she throws it in my face at the fact that I don't take my sister out, it's like, oh, I want to. I just don't want you there with us because you tend to control everything. You say that my sister wants this, and this. In reality, she only wants this, and this because she's used to that routine. I want to show her more than just that routine. And I feel like because she's there controlling us, it's like we don't have that type of freedom. When my dad came out with me and my sister the day that we took her out when my mom was still in Mexico, it went smoothly because he didn't ask me, Gio, where are you taking us? Gio, what is this? Gio, where are you going? Or like, do you even know where you're going? Or like, where are we heading off to? What are you doing? Oh my God, watch how you're driving. Oh my God, stop. Oh my God, slow down. This, that. It's like, oh my God. In that case, get the fuck out of the car and stay home. Like, I hate how she over-exaggerates her reactions on my driving and how I am towards people. She says that I'm too friendly, that I need to set boundaries. When it's like, if it's a person that I know but you don't, then clearly that means I'm in my lane to associate with this person because I know them as such. But
we've talked about that before, me and you, where it's like, you're right. I do believe you do need to set boundaries for certain things.
Yeah.
And that's what it was with your parents. Like we were talking about it where it was like, you need to set your boundary with your mom. Yeah, she's not going to agree with it. Yeah, she's going to push back a lot.
Like, she has.
She has, but you have to stick your ground. You have to set those boundaries.
And I have, because there are times where like my mom would be like, okay, Gio, time to go. Or like she would try to embarrass me by literally yelling at me as if I'm still a little kid. And I'm all like, I would look at her and say, do you mind? Like, do you mind? What is your hurry? And if she says that we have to do this, and this, and I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of time during the day, so spare me 5 minutes. That's all I ask. I mean, honestly, going back to me not paying anything, honestly, the only thing that I pay for is my credit card bills, I don't pay my phone bill because my parents don't even allow me to do that. They don't let me give them $500 for my bedroom just because I still live with them. And it's like, well, what if that changed? What if I did give you $500? All they said was, we'll save it for you until the time comes where it's accumulated and we give it back to you. And you can do whatever you want with it. And it's like, that's not what I'm asking for. I recently found out what they're doing with my financial aid money, and honestly, that pissed me off. They have been
You don't have to say it. I hope you know that.
True.
If you don't want to. I don't want you to say something that you're going to be like, I probably shouldn't have said that. So, are you sure you want to continue?
Well, all I'm going to say is this. To anyone who's also going through the same shit that I'm going through, or even worse, don't let them micromanage your money. Because honestly, like, even though it sounds like they're helping, and even though that money was helpful for, like, tax season, at the same time, it's like, you can never be too careful if they're actually taking a little bit of it for themselves as well.
If you are over 18, in general,
yeah,
just don't have your parents take care of your money. Like, no. Ever. You're probably gonna fuck it up. Not you, but
anyone listening.
Anyone listening, you're probably gonna fuck it up and spend it all. And you know that's part of the journey. But that's how you learn. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just don't have your parents use your money, like safeguard your money like that if you're over 18.
Exactly.
In general, I agree with that.
Because honestly, like, it pissed me off at the fact that my next financial aid money that came recently, my mother was like pushing it on, like giving it to her and putting it in their account, when it's like, wait a minute, I thought I was going to put it in mine. And then we went through this whole ordeal where it's like, we're putting it in this certain account because we're helping you accumulate it so that when you graduate, you can give it all back, even though we didn't do that with the first check that came through because we spent it all. And it's like, we spent it all on your fucking teeth. We spent it all on your, like, on your dental, on your fucking jewelry. Like, honestly, that pissed me off so much at the fact that she even said that I don't help with money at all when I'm giving it to her regardless. I even ask her how much you need, and I give it to her even more so. And honestly, I feel like that's ungrateful of her, because I do the most, and yet she should be asking her husband for help when she feels like, oh, I feel like if I do, then he'll like get pissed off or whatever the hell, depending on how much amount I take. And it's like, if there's a reason, explain it to him. He's your husband for a reason. This is a marriage. It's your marriage, not mine.
Yeah, but she's not going to do it because it could cause a divorce. So
she wants it anyways. So I'm all like, well, if that's what you want, then go ahead and cause that commotion, but don't put me into it because I'm not in this.
Lady, you need to move out. You need to move out. Yeah. I mean, hey, yeah, you know. Once again, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're alive. And dude, this is a story you're gonna tell your kids.
Oh hell yeah!
And this is also a story that you're gonna be able to navigate in the future. You know, with like knowing how to approach certain things. And yeah, dude, I can't tell you enough. It does get better. It will get better, but certain things need to be implemented before those things do get better, right? And that's how it was with me and my mom, man. But we've been at it for an hour and 30 minutes.
Nice.
I know. There's one more question I was just gonna ask you one more question, but before I do that, is there anything you want to ask me on anything?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, anything. This is really fun that I hope to do it again.
Dude, you're more than welcome to come. I mean, the whole purpose of this podcast, first and foremost, is for people who are listening to learn from whoever's talking, right? So the things that you're saying, people are definitely going to take stuff from that. And people that what I'm saying, they're probably just going to be like, you're very annoying, let her talk. So,
well, no, if anything, I feel I'm more annoying just because I'm like droning on about like issues that I should have gotten passed over. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like this also could help anyone that goes through it.
Exactly. And dude, everyone goes at their different pace. You know, there's stuff that I learned when I was 25 that somebody that I know right now is learning now that they're 28. That's how it is. It's part of life, but it's better, of course, to learn it earlier because you're able to navigate it so much better. Yeah. And that's just how it is. Also, we have to step aside our ego. We have to. Every single one of us has an ego, 100%. Definitely. You have to put it aside and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing that is causing the problem? That's why I asked you, like, do you think you took what your mom said a certain way because of the characterization you have in her or because of the actual way she said it? I agree with what you said, but
it's both.
It's both. Yeah, it is both. But sometimes we perceive things because of our ego. It happens.
True.
And it's okay to accept it. It's not okay to let it keep happening, right? Are you sure you don't want to ask me anything? Okay, all right. So, once again, the reason why I made this podcast is because I believe we are all catalysts for people. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that word is?
No, but I hear you use it a lot.
I do. I fucking love that word. The catalyst, scientifically speaking, is a chemical that causes, when you put it on another chemical, it reacts faster compared to if it were to be done on its own. Mm-hmm. So the chemical, like rust. So metal rusts faster when you put something on it. That's a catalyst. With human beings, though, a catalyst is somebody who makes another human being achieve something faster because of the way you, as a catalyst, I keep saying that word.
See what I mean?
Yeah, because of you, because of the things you say, the way you act, just who you are. You're going to be able to bring somebody into a faster state of mind compared if they were to do it on their own. Mm-hmm. What is the one thing that for whoever's listening who is going through what you're going through or not, what is the one thing you would tell them that they should know?
Well, I wouldn't really know what to say exactly, but if...
Well, what's the one thing that you've learned in your life so far that you would want to tell other people? How about that?
Well, what I would want to say to those people that are either going through something similar as me or worse is that, as you said before, it gets better, but that's only within time. And at the same time, it also depends on what you do in the present for that to change your future. And honestly, like, if it's something that you're afraid of taking action now, don't, because even though it does require some sacrifices here and there, whether it's losing friends, close family members, or even the person that you're comfortable with just to be the person that you want to become, then that's already shredding a layer of your comfort zone to actually get out and be who you want to be, who you say you want to be, and to actually achieve it.
Someone would even say who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Right. I hope you know I'm genuinely grateful for you to have come out. I know that we haven't known each other for that long, but
there's a connection.
There's a connection. Not that kind of connection. Creepers.
No.
All right. Yeah.
Mal pensados.
I know, en serio. All right. Yeah, they be thinking that pervy shit sometimes. The ones listening. Anyways, I hope you do know that I genuinely appreciate you as a human being, as yourself, but I also appreciate the things you say. I appreciate the way you approach situations. That's why I'm comfortable with asking you the questions that I do, because obviously there's a lot of similarities in between us when it comes to growing up the way we did, the way we were raised. But because of that, we're able to support, help each other, and help others that are going through that too. Mm-hmm. So if you ever need anything from me in general, let me know. Okay, I'm always here for you. Always.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. And thank you for having me on here. I hope to actually do it again one day.
No, you're more than welcome to come back. All right?
Yeah.